Hello, I'm Laura Painter. You're watching ABC10 Plus tonight. We head to Stockton, where, like the rest of the world, Catholics are remembering the life of Pope Francis. Then, our To The Point team looks into the wrongful death lawsuit against one of the Sacramento Kings owners. ABC10 Plus tonight starts right now.
Here's what we know so far. The Pope died this morning at the age of 88 years old.
The Vatican released his death certificate, saying he died from a cerebral stroke, which led to his heart stopping.
Here's the latest tonight on how he's being remembered.
A solemn service this evening in St. Peter's Square for Pope Francis, who died this morning in Rome. The faithful gathering rosaries in hand, offering prayers for the pontiff. Bells ringing out this morning at the Vatican to mark his passing. The giant bronze doors at the Apostolic Palace half closed as the Vatican observes the sede vacante period. The papal throne is empty. Mourners gathering to honor the leader of more than 1 billion Catholics around the world, including in his birthplace of Argentina. His death comes just a day after Easter, when he's celebrated with thousands of faithful.
Buona Pasqua.
Blessing the crowd from the balcony and greeting them in his Pope-mobile.
Beautiful timing on God's part, and my sense was that he celebrated Easter yesterday with the faithful, and he's celebrating with Jesus Christ today in heaven.
In his final message Sunday, the Pope calling for peace and unity around the globe, urging an end to the conflicts in the Middle East and Ukraine. On Sunday, he also met with Vice President J.D. Vance, who says he was happy to see him. The pontiff was recently hospitalized for weeks as he battled double pneumonia. Pope Francis spent his life serving the church, making history as the first pope from Latin America and the first Jesuit. He's also credited with bringing a new wave of optimism into the Catholic religion.
Also, it should be a reminder to all of us that it's important that we live this life well, because we don't know when this life will come to an end.
And the Pope's death will lead to a weeks-long process of allowing the faithful to pay their final respects. President Trump said today he and the First Lady will travel to Rome to attend the funeral. And keep in mind, take a look. The first is for Vatican officials in the Santa Marta Chapel, and then in St. Peter's for the general public, followed by a funeral and a conclave to elect a new pope. The process often begins 15 to 20 days after a pope's death. Cardinals from across the globe will gather in a secluded area inside Vatican City before voting on a new pope in the Sistine Chapel.
The Pope's death has left millions of people in mourning, including the religious in Stockton, some of whom got the opportunity to see the Pope in person. ABC 10's Gabriel Porras has the story.
Monday worshipers at Stockton St. Mary's Church may have never met Pope Francis, but it sure felt like they did.
Pope Francis was working hard to meet the needs of the world and to draw attention to those who are marginalized, those who are not included in the circle.
You know, especially with the things that are going on in the world, he taught us to try to overcome that, to still look through it and to forgive.
It's why the news was so hard to bear.
Our father, Pope Francis, died yesterday.
The reason why we came here is because we wanted to pray for the Pope. Moving forward, doing and acting upon what the Pope has taught us to do, to forgive and to love.
That message is what former St. Mary's High School teacher Luigi Girardi walked away with on a 2018 trip with students to the Vatican.
When you're close to the Pope, and as close as the students and I were, you cannot imagine how good you feel to be able to see someone that close and someone that is for the people.
On her 2016 trip,
but his words were paintings.
Pastor Trina Turner was even closer.
So I got an opportunity to be in close quarters with Pope Francis and to be able to listen to his wisdom and his teaching, shake his hand up close and personal with him. He is someone that deeply cares about mankind.
And now mankind mourns his loss.
We've gone through a lot of hard times, and we pray for God to be the one in charge.
And I feel like it's a void that our world has felt, regardless of what walk of life, regardless of what your background and belief.
In Stockton, Gabriel Porras, ABC 10.
The doors at the Cathedral of the Annunciation have been open all day. Tonight at 7, there will be a special rosary and mass to honor Pope Francis's life.
Reaction of the Pope's passing continues to come in from around the world and here locally. I want you to take a look. Bishop Jaime Soto from the Diocese of Sacramento released this statement saying, quote, "Let us commend the Holy Father, Pope Francis, to the merciful embrace of Jesus, the Good Shepherd. His Holiness served as the Lord's vicar on earth. May he now enjoy contemplating his beloved Savior in heaven." Governor Gavin Newsom also released this statement saying in part, quote, "Jennifer and I join the world in mourning the passing of Pope Francis. He saw God in all his creatures, reminding us of humanity's obligations toward each other and the world we live in, asking us to care for one another and let us be loving custodians of creation."
Tomorrow night, ABC will air Francis, the People's Pope. The ABC News special is scheduled from 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. right here on ABC 10. We have more content and information on the death of Pope Francis on the ABC10 Plus streaming TV app on the home screen. The app is free to download on your TV.
Phil Oates is a notable businessman in the Sacramento region, and tonight he's being named in a wrongful death lawsuit after a retired CHP officer died in the crash the CHP says was caused by Oates. ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen shares with us what happened and how Phil Oates is responding to the claims.
On a busy stretch of road along Douglas Boulevard at Kingsgate Drive in Granite Bay, tragedy struck in May 2024. Patrick Molderig, a retired CHP officer, was riding his motorcycle when he was hit by a car.
He had a couple of motorcycles. He was a very experienced and skilled motorcyclist.
According to a CHP crash report, Molderig was approaching Kingsgate Drive when he was hit. The driver was Phil Oates, a successful businessman and part owner of the Sacramento Kings. The CHP says he was turning left onto Kingsgate Drive.
It's pretty clear that he's committed an act that you're not supposed to on the roadway, which is make an unsafe left turn in front of an oncoming vehicle.
The police report says Oates saw Molderig approaching but believed he could clear the turn. The CHP referred this case to the Placer County District Attorney's Office for review for a charge of manslaughter. But a spokesperson for the DA's office says it declined to file criminal charges. They say the investigation produced insufficient evidence that the death was because of a criminal act. Now, Molderig's widow is filing a wrongful death lawsuit.
Miranda Flores would not do an interview with us, but did provide us with a statement through her attorney's office that says in part, the Placer County District Attorney's decision to not charge Phil Oates, quote, simply makes no sense, and she will seek justice for her husband to honor his memory.
I was shocked. I think if Mr. Oates' last name was actually Mr. Smith, I think the likelihood is that person would have been cited and prosecuted.
With no criminal charges pending, Flores filed a wrongful death civil lawsuit against Oates, hoping to make up for what the DA's office didn't do.
I think the question is why? Why didn't you just wait? You saw him.
The CHP Auburn says since January 2023 through now, officers have documented 20 crash reports around the area of Douglas and Sierra College Boulevards. As for the crash that cost retired officer Molderig's life, Phil Oates would not do an interview with ABC 10, but his attorney says Mr. Oates is deeply saddened by the passing of the other driver in the accident. He trusts that the court system will reach a just result. In Sacramento, Jeannie Nguyen, ABC 10.
The CHP report on the crash noted that Phil Oates was not under the influence of alcohol or drugs during the crash.
A new coalition is pushing for change in the law, which targets the buyers of sex trafficking victims and supports survivors.
Assemblywoman Maggie Krell unveiled the new anti-sex trafficking coalition on Monday in support of Assembly Bill 379. ABC 10's Roxanne Elias has a closer look.
At the Capitol on Monday, Assemblywoman Maggie Krill, along with other leaders, took a strong stance against sex trafficking after giving examples of what victims go through.
She said, nothing happens for raping girls like me.
Krill announced the formation of a coalition which will include survivor support organizations, law enforcement, and statewide elected leaders. And they're now urging members of the Assembly Public Safety Committee to support Assembly Bill 379.
I want to solve two problems with this bill. One, we have to create more resources for victims like Julie and the thousands of other victims who are being trafficked.
Krill says the bill creates a law allowing law enforcement to intervene when men are out trying to buy victims for sex. It also makes it a felony when those victims are under 18 years old. And for the first time, it sets up the Survivor Support Fund, funded by fines paid by offenders. It'll go straight towards community-based organizations that will provide trauma-informed care, outreach, and recovery support.
Instead of putting people in jail, AB 379 offers diversion programs for first and second time offenses, connecting individuals to support services and a path towards healing.
At the same time, the bill takes a firm stance on accountability, creating a new misdemeanor for loitering with the intent to buy sex. The Sacramento County Sheriff and Sacramento Police Chief are both supporters.
As it stands now, with the laws the way they're written, we can't even put their face in the newspaper to try and shame them, to make them aware, hey, if you engage in acts like this, your friends, your neighbors will know.
We will not make progress on trafficking or these issues if we don't hold those who fuel it accountable.
Backers say the bill sends a powerful message, and it's not just a step forward, but a stand for justice.
And will create appropriate consequences that will reduce the demand.
In Sacramento, Roxanne Elias, ABC 10.
So what next? AB 379 is set to be heard in the Assembly Public Safety Committee coming up next week. Back, the Sacramento City Council is expected to greenlight $1.2 million for a new project. It's aimed at reconnecting Old North Sacramento to the rest of the city.
The project would fund a study to reimagine Highway 160 by improving safety and access in a historically underserved area.
ABC 10's Luke Clary has more.
When Highway 160 was built 70 years ago, it connected downtown Sacramento to Business 80. But it bypassed the historic Del Paso Boulevard and its businesses.
Oftentimes it gets overlooked, Del Paso, North Sacramento. This is where I like to have my meetings most times.
Daniel Zavala is an old North Sacramento resident who recognized the impact of that decision.
Vacant properties, boarded up properties, blight, some stress over the years just because you don't have the traffic and the housing density that you might need.
Now the city wants to look at changing that.
I think at the time that people thought about putting in the freeway, they really didn't realize what that impact was going to be.
Councilmember Roger Dickinson says City Council is expected to vote Tuesday to approve $1 million in federal funding to study new options for Highway 160. One idea, turning it into a boulevard.
That opens up frontage property that would allow us to have residential and business development that could be sited along Highway 160. It would dramatically improve the access for people here in North Sacramento to the American River Parkway.
I'd really ask neighbors to look at this with an open mind.
Daniel Zavala supports the study as a longtime resident and former head of the Del Paso Boulevard Partnership.
I hope people relax first and just, hey, we're not shutting down 160 tomorrow.
He says it's not about taking something away, it's about bringing something back and reconnecting a historic part of northern Sacramento that's been divided for decades. In Sacramento, Luke Clary, ABC 10.
And the City Council votes tomorrow. The project is funded with a $1 million federal capital grant and $200,000 from the Vision Zero safety program. Okay, let's bring in Monica now because we had a beautiful Easter weekend and now we're dealing with the warm temperatures.
Right, it was so glorious, but some changes are coming too, right?
Certainly are. Yeah, we're going to be up and down just like that spring pattern that we're so used to. And we're even tracking that slight chance for showers coming into our outlook as well. So as we get going on the new work and school week, it is quite pleasant out there. Don't forget we have that layered meteor shower coming our way overnight tonight through early tomorrow. It hits its peak. It's been in play for the past couple of days, but it really peaks overnight tonight. And we've got great conditions to view that as well. Clear skies, 40% moon full, so there will be a little bit of that light coming from the moon, but otherwise should be pretty nice out there. Only about 5 to 15 meteors per hour. Tomorrow we're in the 80s again, and then looking ahead, we mentioned this cooling in the forecast. Overhead right now, we have clear skies. Just a beautiful day to get back to work and school unless you have this week off for your spring break. Enjoy it. Got some great weather out there to enjoy that afternoon and evening walk, or perhaps just enjoying time at the park as well. Highs for today in the mid-80s up and down the valley, slightly above our average, which runs about the mid-70s, so we're about 10 degrees above average. 70s in the foothills and then 60s up top for the Sierra. Lots of snow melt going on there. Right now in the Big Mountain backyard, we have sunny skies. We're at 83 for Sacramento, Stockton 85, Modesto 83, Marysville 83, and Tahoe checks in at 61. That sunset not until 7:49, have almost till 8 8 o'clock tonight to enjoy this beautiful evening. Our winds are going to shift ever so slightly. Tonight we have that light southwest wind, very typical of those late afternoon, early evening winds. Not too problematic. Tomorrow we start to see some bigger changes heading our way. We largely see northwest winds to start off the day, and then deeper into the afternoon, early evening, we shift those winds to the southwest at about 15 to almost 25 miles per hour, kind of initiating and signaling that change in our weather pattern. Now overhead, we've got a low pressure system that will start to carve out a little deeper jet stream. Our storm track starts to move to the south, and so we will have that slight chance of a shower along the California-Oregon border. Not really much of an impact for us locally. As that low drives its way southward just a little bit more, we bring in a slight chance of some showers, mainly north of I-80, and then that disruptive weather pattern continues into the end of the work week. Offshore brewing another low pressure system, so Friday, late evening into early Saturday morning is going to be that slight chance of a shower. Highs for tomorrow in the 60s for the Sierra, with 70s to near 80 for the foothills. Along the coast, we've got a mix of sun and clouds. We're in the 60s for San Francisco, but inland areas we're going to warm to near 80. We'll see those 80s represented widespread throughout the valley for tomorrow, and then we'll start the cooling trend into the end of the work week. We're down into the 40s by the time we get into Friday and Saturday for the mountains. For the foothills, we're bringing in highs in the 50s as well as for the coast, and we'll see that as well for the valley. Now there's just that slight chance of a shower heading our way later on during the work week, Friday into early Saturday. Highs only in the 60s by Friday, and then we're right back to the 80s next week.
Oh, that springtime roller coaster. Now we're taking the dip.
Yep.
I'm not complaining, though. I like the cooler temperatures as much as I can get them, huh?
Right, yeah, because that 100-degree heat is just around the corner.
We know it, too. We're back right after this.
And in other news this morning, we are talking about a local author. His book is called Paralyzed to Powerful, which tells us about lessons from a quadriplegic's journey. So ABC10's Marcus Allen joins us now with the author. So Mark, what can you tell us?
I can tell you that his story is inspirational. That word is thrown out so often, but I mean it so much this morning. Good hanging out with you. This is Robert Paler. Robert, if you would, hold your book up and show it to them.
That's it.
Want to know why I did that? Because we lead with saying a quadriplegic. You're clearly holding up your own book. This in itself is no miracle. 8 years ago, this May 6th, you were sidelined, injured, a near-death injury, playing rugby. You were told you weren't going to walk. You were told you weren't going to hold up, be able to even feed yourself. And look at you now.
It's just amazing to think how far this has progressed over these last 8 years. I'm so lucky and excited to share it in great detail in this book.
Yeah, during the break, he shared something with myself and camera guy Dawn that I want you to do at home right now. I want you to hold your book flat for me for a second. This is what he told me. He said, put your hand like that, extend your ring finger, and then try to lift your ring finger, and that's pretty much simulating what it feels like to be you.
Over my entire body, it was like that, and it's just amazing. I've had about an 80% return in my upper body. I can walk 400 yards in my walker now, so a long shot from where it started.
Your story is amazing. There's a reason people line up for your TED Talk, and it's doing so well, having only been out there a couple of weeks. You want to inspire people going through this, or people just facing that hurdle.
That's it, because I'm paralyzed physically, but we all have things that paralyze us mentally or emotionally, and this injury took a lot away from me, but it gave me a lot too, and it gave me an ability to help people that I never would have had if I didn't get injured. That's what this book is all about, is helping people overcome what paralyzes them.
And we learned things in your TED Talk that the injury itself was almost a criminal act. It was illegal, and you've gotten through forgiveness and all of that. And then also at the other end of it, you want to not just sell books, you want to make the world a better place.
That's what this is all about. I did not do this to make money, to sell books. It's about helping people, and it gives great meaning to my life. I can't play rugby anymore, and I might not be an athlete, but I can help other people, and that's what matters most to me.
Also, people probably don't know that Jesuit in our own backyard is the #1 rugby team in America, and it's what led you to your collegiate rugby career. Again, you're uniquely qualified to talk about this. Pope Francis was the first Jesuit pope in the history of Catholicism. So how does that hit with you, the loss of this pope this morning?
Tragic to see the Holy Father's passing. What an incredible man and just a humble servant of God. He served our church very well, and we'll see who's up next. They're going to have a tough act to follow.
Yeah, there you go. You're Powerful. Your message is so powerful. I could spend all day with you, and I just might. Don't think you're going anywhere. Back to you.
All right, Mark, so I have a question for Robert. Is there like a favorite chapter that he might have or a favorite passage from his book that he wants to share?
One snapshot of this book that is your favorite thing to share.
Compared to what? So whenever I'm going through something tough, I think compared to what? I've got it tough, but compared to what? Everyone always has something harder, and I think that kind of perspective is really what helps us persevere.
Yeah, and I could tell you, Jordan, that compared to what? A mentor of yours, when you were going through the rough of it, there were other people dying next to you, and he said, compared to what?
Compared to what? That's it. It just keeps me going. I think it's the secret to happiness.
I'm taking that with me today, Jordan, so next time you have some problem, think, compared to what? How bad is it? Back to you.
Yeah, absolutely a great message. Thank you so much, Robert, and thank you, Marcus Allen.
Thank you so much for watching ABC 10 Plus tonight. We're here 24/7 on the free ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. You can get your local news and weather anytime, anywhere. And remember to keep it on ABC 10 Plus this week. We are following everything from the Vatican about the death of Pope Francis. Also, the Locked On 49ers team is also getting fans ready for the NFL Draft. I'm Laura Painter. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
Wednesday on To the Point. California's high-speed rail project.
The structures are being built, construction is ongoing, and impacts are being made.
A vision decades in the making. Unlikely to finish on time and facing a budget shortfall.
What is your response to the criticism that the Inspector General has found on the high-speed rail project?
With federal funding threatened.
California's federal transportation dollars should go where it's really needed.
What does progress look like? Don't miss this special report on California's high-speed rail project Wednesday on To the Point at 6:30, only on ABC 10 and the ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app.
ABC 10 Plus, and now that you're here, why don't we take a look around and see what else is here? The very first tile on your left is always going to be streaming 24/7. You can find us adjacent to that, breaking news if it's there. And then right next to that, a replay of the most recent newscast. Whether it's ABC 10 Morning News at 5, 6, or beyond, it's going to be there. The forecast beyond that, and then right beyond that, the news that matters the most. Now that you know the basic tiles, let's go up to the top and take a deeper dive into news. We have every single newscast that you would need, including To the Point with Alex Bell, taking a deeper dive into the issues. Beyond that, ABC 10 Morning News at 5 and 6 and 11, the evening shows as well. Below that, you can watch the top stories from To the Point. Under that, Dollars and Cents, where you can learn how to navigate this challenging economy. And below that, you can watch our award-winning ABC 10 Special Investigations, where we hold the powerful accountable. Going into weather, look, it's the 10-day forecast, getting you ready for the weekend and beyond. Beyond that, sports. I know you care about the Sacramento Kings. We have the most comprehensive guide to anything, everything Kings in the locker room and on the court. We have it. Below that, I know you care about the San Francisco 49ers. We can't mention Bay Sports without talking about the Oakland A's. We have that too. Backing out again, come up to the top and join me on Verify. I'm super excited about this. Our experts are checking the facts, verifying the truth for you. Jump up now to shows. Very excited about this. Oh, look. It's Take a Look. This is my show. I love movies, and if you love movies or streaming shows, whether it's on screens this big, or this big, it's Take a Look. Recently went behind the scenes, sat down with Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix to talk about Joker 2. I love the movie, and oh, I just heard you shout you hate the movie. Jump in, we talk about it on this show. Other shows, Bartell's Backroads, go up and down the state of California, tank of gas getaways, one fuel cell getaway, like places like the Toy Museum. This is what kids did before they had screens. Over here, the Moaning Caverns of Calaveras County, one of the most coveted caves in all of California. You know, watching this show, I discovered there's a cave that could fit the entire Statue of Liberty in your own backyard. You'll find about that and more with Bartell's Backroads. Down below that, To the Point. It is one of my favorite newscasts because they talk about news with Alex Bell the way you talk about news. It's conversational, but in-depth at the same time. Below that, Your California Life. Love this show. Whether it's entertainment, food, beverage, lifestyle, it's there. Desiree Shepherd hosts and does an amazing job. So there you have it. It's ABC 10 Plus, the app. What do you need? We heard you and we got it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for streaming.